Chair recognizes Mr. Cloud.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for being here. In 1996, we passed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Response Act of 1996, as well as the Secure Fence Act of 2006, in part to authorize the construction of barriers along the southern border. You're aware of that, correct?
I am.
I'll note that was both under Democrat and Republican administrations. In 2021, we funded more border infrastructure. You're aware of that?
Yes.
And I'm sure this is basic constitutional, but as the Article I branch, our job is to make the law, your job is to execute the law. Is that correct?
Oh, most certainly. And as a matter of fact, I've been very proud to
And yet you canceled
enforce
contracts
the
for
laws.
construction of the border wall. Is that true? You've canceled contracts for building the
Congressman,
border wall?
I can assure you that we will comply with all our legal obligations.
Right now, we're paying for border wall to be stored instead of built. Is that correct?
We are, I have approved, as I testified earlier.
Is that correct? Yes or no?
Approximately 129
Is-
gates and gaps. And so that project,
Yes
that
or
work is
no?
underway.
Are we paying for border wall to be stored
We are indeed.
instead of built? Thank you. And that include Texas, who was trying to buy it to build it themselves. You stopped Texas from buying border wall?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that. I'll certainly look into that and touch base with you in the days following.
You keep talking about force multipliers as well. When I talk to the boots on the ground, they talk about the border infrastructure, specifically the wall, the roads that go along with it, the chopping down the cruiser cane, the technology that's involved, all being one of the most effective force multipliers in the sense that you can have 2 or 3 people patrol a few miles of border as opposed to dozens. It's pretty significant that we do this, yet Biden's border budget request takes the money that we've already allocated and moves it to other directions. Isn't that correct?
I'm confused by your question, Congressman. And
The
I can
border
assure you
that you're here to propose takes money that we've already allocated for the border wall and moves it to other objectives. Isn't that correct?
We are seeking to invest in people.
It's a yes or no question.
Congressman,
We-
we are
we-
seeking
we're-
to invest in
It's not
people
a
and
either
technology.
or, people or border infrastructure.
No, that's why I'm saying.
You're taking what we've already authorized, what we've already appropriated for border wall construction, and you're wanting to rescind that and use it for other purposes. Isn't that correct?
Congressman, we will comply with our legal obligations for fiscal year
That's a very
2023.
well-worded way to get around. You find these loopholes, and you're missing the objective, the overall objective of securing the border by finding these little legal loopholes to get out of things. For example, the Secure Fence Act of 2006 defines what operational control is as the prevention of all unlawful entries into the United States, including entries by terrorists and other unlawful aliens, instruments of terrorism, narcotics, and other contraband. To be clear, that's the only definition that exists legally of operational control. Isn't that correct?
I believe that is the statutory definition under the Secure Fence Act of
And
2006.
I understand a point that you've made that it does say all, and as long as it says all, you can never perfectly achieve operational control. You've made that point. But have illegal entries increased or decreased since you became secretary?
There's no question. First of all,
they increased or decreased?
you are absolutely correct that under the Secure Fence Act definition, no administration has achieved operational control. It speaks of preventing all unlawful entries. That
Right.
means one
But your
got
job
away.
should be to be moving us in the proper direction. Yet
Oh,
we
and
have
we are
more
very-
illegal entries. We have terrorists coming across our border, and the fentanyl coming across our border has increased. All these things have gotten worse, not better. So whether you say you've perfectly achieved it, you're certainly not moving toward it. You're moving away from it. We all appreciate the boots on the ground who are doing their best to do the job, but I can tell you, I've been down there. They really don't appreciate the job that they're seeing and the leadership that they see coming out of your office right now. One other question I want to ask you, how many children have been lost between you and HHS?
Congressman, I don't know of a single child that we have lost in our responsibility to turn over an unaccompanied child to the Department of,
to HHS,
to the
yeah.
Department of Health and Human Services within 72 hours, which is our legal requirement. I'm
Biden
not aware-
administration
if I
cannot
may,
find
Congressman, I'm not aware of a
42,577
single
children.
child. I'm not aware of a single child that we have lost in executing our responsibility to take a unaccompanied child in
Right
our
now, the
custody
Biden
and turn
administration
it
cannot
over to the
find
Department of Health and Human Services.
42,577 children who are going to, quote, sponsors, many of whom are connected to cartels. And it astonished me yesterday that you have never seen these. I personally dug these out of the mud at a gap in the border. It says coming and going in Spanish on it. On it are digital numbers that the cartels use to track people to make sure they're paying their way, both before they get into our country and after they get in our country. I brought these as a gift to you because I have a number of others, and I'll be happy to give these to you. Last year, we were told that we were going to plus up the budget, and because of it, we'd be able to secure our border. We do all these great things, raises for the good men and women, boots on the ground. And I asked this question. I said, the problem is we write the check to secure the border, and the Biden administration gets it, and they say, yay, more money for human trafficking operations. How is that going to change? Yet what we've seen over the last year is the continued operation of the border being even more a sieve, even more aiding and abetting the cartels in their nefarious actions that destabilize Central and South America, Mexico, and make our communities less safe. And so if we are going to address the border funding, we've got to see action, and we've got to see those trends reverse. I apologize, Chair, for going over. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. Mr. Guess is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.